never really impressed me that much, but since joining G2, it's like they've had a resurgence in their career. So G2, starting on the CT side, so Liquid have actually opted to go T side. That's quite surprising, but again, some teams do prefer the T side. I feel like it's such an even map, pushing straight up. Kenny S spots a whole bunch of players, but can't convert.
And that's not the first frag you want Kenny to be getting. Misses all of his shots, and Nitro able to take him down, but Jack straight through the smoke. Headshot onto Stewie to find the refrag, spotting a lead out towards short as well as Liquid go for the 3-man long take. They'll be given this control relatively freely. Jax desperate to make something happen, but the USP picked up by Naf is too good. Nitro gets another onto Nexa, and Hunter and Amanek, they've got to make a very long rotation in. They're starting to make their way up towards mid. But G2, they've been locked out of their A bomb site, and it's a 4-on-2 retake required.
There's the run boost, just to allow Amanek to get up close, but both the remaining G2 members are pushing through together. It's one-dimensional. They have a smoke, but not much else to play with. And this firing squad has been established. It has been put in position. The flag raised high. The Canadian one from Twist not going to be called upon, but Elige from the shadows will strike alongside Nitro. Just what Liquid were looking for. Kicking off Dust 2 with a bang.
Kicking it off on the T side with that bang as well, putting the pressure immediately onto G2, who of course will force into this one. Kenny not going to be opting for the scout, instead a deagle and a high explosive grenade to his name to try and have some impact in this one. The buy's good, of course, across the board on Liquid, and I'm starting to see why they went T-side now. I'm starting to understand the plays. Stewie going to get an early tag onto Amanek, who has actually picked up the scout for G2, trying to take that contest. He takes another tag through the door down to 10 HP. And Liquid, with some early damage to work with, start to take control of lowers.
Lower tunnels has been established. What do they do with it, however? G2 still have a smoke to maybe toss in towards middle, but they don't want to use it too early. Liquid being this aggressive is actually pressuring G2 right off the bat, and this may force them into a desperation play with these HEs. The smoke has now just been tossed, so that's dwindled away on their belt. Elige tapping the head of Nexa, breaking the deadlock in the round, although a lot of players are feeling worse for wear and injured. Twists witnesses the grenade sail past him, chunks him down to 74. There's another HE, but there's only one remaining. And G2 systematically are being funneled into an awkward position. However, they are stacking A. All their players over on this side of the map. This could still go pear-shaped for Liquid if they push straight in here. Amanek through the smoke. Actually is going to connect onto Nitro. Misses the second shot. Not going to be able to soften them up. You've also got a player on the right-hand side, but Hunter doesn't need Kenny. He's doing it all alone with the CZ. How in the actual hell is this happening? Nafly now has to traipse over all these corpses of his brothers to try and clutch the round out. He's been so good for Liquid lately, but he doesn't have the bomb. Only 20 seconds to play with an 8 HP, and he's gonna have to save. G2 have actually pulled this off.
How did they make that happen? Liquid had every advantage in the world. They found the initial peak. They had the advantage of damage as well, with Amanek being tagged up by Stewie, Elige getting a few bullets into the side of Hunter, but it's still not enough. Hunter tapping away with the CZ, Amanek there to back him up with the scout, and G2, they've used their get out of jail free card very early, but I'm sure they've got a few more up their sleeves as they even managed to grab themselves an AK and Galil at the very death of that round. The perfect response to a pistol round that looked so catastrophic for the Frenchman.
That's always why I'm a firm advocate of going for those stacks on ecos or force buys with pistols, because there's always that chance, there's always that gamble that they're going to push onto the site where you are all hiding. Kenny also on that box is a really cool angle. Even if Hunter doesn't get those two brisk CZ headshots, I feel like Kenny would have had a huge amount of impact. Flashes through middle, using that AK to go in first. Oh, Stewie. That's a cheeky, audacious shot, but he's going to burn alive for it.
Luckily for G2, he burns alive. Otherwise, you could have seen him causing some havoc. And they are going to look to group up Liquid off the back of it. Elige catches Nexa on the rotation, and the pressure's going to be piled onto Amanek here. The scout completely alone, and he's actually going to abandon the B-bomb site in favor of mid. 4-on-3 as the site is taken for free. And how much damage can he get done from this window? Liquid absolutely swarm. He's trying to get anything he can, but nothing to be seen. Bomb goes down. G2 requiring a huge retake of this B-bomb site.
Be such a difficult site to retake at that, especially when you're at a lack of grenades. Only an incendiary that's in the hands of Jackson. He's being funneled away and tagged down ever so low. If he gets the kill, I think they go in for the retake, but because he just was inflicted with so much pain, they have to pull back and save the gun. So Liquid, they have a force of their own that's going to come good. There's the importance of saving the AK, not necessarily like it had that much impact at the end of the day. It was more Stewie's 1D than Elige taking down the site, but G2, they tap out and Liquid regain the lead. So it's a topsy-turvy back and forth start to our best of 3.
And the problem with a back and forth start is that T-sided economy always comes off better. It's always the Ts who end up a little bit stronger, and they're going to have a great buy coming into this one. Rifles coming out early on, and it's G2 making a big call to counter the force with a force of their own. They know that if they can keep winning these rounds, they're going to keep Team Liquid's economy down. And if they can win the Battle of the Forces, they will set themselves up perfectly on Dust 2. But it's up against so much firepower for Liquid now. 3 rifles, the UMP, the Scout onto Stewie. At least an M4 and an AK-47 picked up by the CT side. That saved Galil on Jax as well, gives them a little bit of bite to match their bark. But can G2 find this round?
I mean, the other aspect of having such a rough opening for G2 is this stalls and delays Kenny getting an AWP. Even if they win a couple of rounds from here on out, there's not an AWP to pick up from Liquid. He has $0. Amanek's the most on 1,600. So you're looking at another round, 2, maybe even 3 rounds before Kenny can have an AWP in his hands, in which case you've already dwindled through quite a lot of those rounds where he can't have that much impact. Speaking of the man, a Molotov makes short too hot to handle, and Amanek gets obliterated, but Nitro goes down to his hands. Twist tries the spray. G2 now, after the save and making this work, making it stick. They weren't expecting a double stack, and Kenny S is going to clean them up. Gets them janitorial duties in effect, and now Elige's AK, last beacon of hope, but that hope has been dashed with the M4 of Hunter.
Force buy beats force buy beats force buy, and Liquid, their economy is gonna suffer as a result. NAF with $1,800 before the investment, and it feels like whichever team gets out of this arm wrestle of a force buy will come out and just be able to string some rounds together, string some economy, because Liquid, they're going to force again. They know that if they break it, the economy busts on the CT side. That's how back and forth these early rounds have been. But the buys, they get worse and worse as time goes on. And it's just 1 AK, 2 Galils, a CZ, and a P250 for Liquid. Not the buy they would have been hoping to come up against when there's full rifles on the CT side. Flash going to pop through the long doors and try and give some map control as Jax, with the AK-47 in hand, looking for the spray down. He's got the angle, and Nitro's not going to clean it. That's an easy first twist, at least able to trade on the Galil. And Kenny going to be forced back off of the angle as Liquid looking for pit control, but Kenny finding the shot. Nexa there to support towards short, and the 2 remaining players out of long. The battle of the force buys may finally be G2's. The Deagle comes out, though, and Twist at least able to bring it back into a 3-on-2.
Making it costly. I was surprised at the start as there is a flank coming around actually, so hold that thought. It's going to be Amanek with the M4 so fast and rapid up middle, totally catching myself and Liquid off guard. There actually was an opportunity to get an AWP in that round. Amanek had enough money because he got an MP9 frag in the round prior, but they still decided not to drop the AWP for Kenny. He does now have it, but Liquid basically have nothing to play with. They've got a smoke and that's it.
I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have minded Kenny not picking it up this round because they're going to be going down to nothing, right? 4 Glocks and a P250, and this is honestly quite a scary buy for an AWPer like Kenny. When you get overwhelmed by these pistols, life can get very difficult. Though Hunter, he's going to get himself a free double, make that a triple, looking for more. A quad with the USPS. Hunter on for the ace. He can't quite connect. He's running out of bullets, but now he switches back to the MP9. Nitro is desperate to get something. Hunter with the knife out, but he won't get the ace. Amanek going to clean things up. And I guess that's one way to mitigate your AWP getting ran over by pistols, is just to slaughter them with an MP9 before they get anywhere near.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's also because it's Dust 2, there's going to be more wide open planes where the AWP can be more safely positioned to not get hit by Glocks anyway. If you're looking at a map like Overpass, like maybe Nuke, I would definitely agree with that. It can get really scary, especially if there's just an all-out rush on one of the sites and you're trying to retake with an AWP. They played it really well as well, G2. Like, they positioned where they couldn't be exploited. Next up, close with the Galil, or the M4, pardon me, is going to get the first kill, but it's actually Hunter that takes it away from him. A double stack back on Nitro before he gets naded and shut down. Stewie 2K on long. Liquid mixing up the pace, showing different sides to their T side, but Kenny, oh, he nearly landed the second flick. They're going to be very careful not to push him one by one. Twist finally going to get his man, and it all falls to Amanek in a 1v2.
First pressure situation for Kenny. He's able to get the first, but nothing more. Can Amanek bail his AWPer out, making the slow rotation around? Stewie picking up the AWP. Amanek goes high with the flashbang, spots out the first, but how many players are there? He can only get the first. Twist immediately trades it out. And G2, their full buy does not work out. Twist scavenges Kenny's boomstick. He will be able to buy another one, though. G2, of course, winning the battle of the force buys. Their economy looking a little more solid, so there will be one more buy for G2 to perhaps try and correct the mistakes of the previous.
Will Liquid go back into ruthless aggression again, or do they slow it down? With Stewie on the AWP, suggests it may just be a case of feeling out G2 and seeing if they do go for those aggressive plays. This is where Amanek going through middle earlier may actually precede G2 and allow Liquid to go for more of a passive play. They don't want to get flanked early on, but that did come off the back of a call that came through from G2 that both remaining players were long. It's not the kind of push you're expecting to do early on in the round unless you have a great spawn to boost up on short. So G2 don't have much utility, and it's actually centralized on Nexa and Amanek. That is going to be worrying. They have an extra smoke on Jax, but there's still so much time left in the round.
And Liquid have managed to sneak out of mid. Nexa is starting to think about it, but he's actually just falling off that angle as Liquid start to take some control. This could get very awkward. Stewie playing with the chat as he starts to tweak his crosshair. Not going to be onto anybody, though, as he starts to look over towards that B bomb site. He's thinking about it. He's waiting for that peak to come through. Nobody going to be there yet, though. And Liquid, they've got time on the clock. There's no need to commit to an early push. Now the smokes start to come through. Now Stewie looks to pick someone off. Hunter straight through the door. That's an easy pick. And Amanek opting to stay passive. He knows he's the last bastion of B for G2. He has to try and stay alive. But the smokes, they'll cut off all the rotations. This is all onto Amanek. Through the window they come. He gets one. Nexa there to trade his death for a second, but it's still going to have to be the 3-on-3. And Stewie's the first issue in towards mid. He finds the tag, but nothing more. Nexa to take him out, make that 3-on-1 as Nexa gets another 3 to his name, and it's all onto Nitro.
Nitro trying his best to stand against the world. It's just a Galil. Jax 1 bullet away from death, but now his position is compromised. Now it's known. Nexa, 10 HP. Can Nitro really turn off from the afterburners and pull this one out? Kenny S with the AWP jumping across, and it's going to be the kill going the way of G2 and the defuse in time. 5-3. And Nexa take a bow. That was all you.
That looks so awkward for G2 till Nexa just comes in and steadies things for them. It's still expensive. They still lose 3 rifles, but for Liquid, it's even worse. They can't buy into this one. They're going to be down onto the half buy again to try and make something of it. Deagles across the board. They can still be lethal. And interestingly, G2 taking the first time out.
Yeah, just steady the ship a little bit, you know. Some of these rounds have been going a little bit out of control. They've been relying on players like Nexa to step up and get 3Ks. It hasn't been a case of them just easing their way into these rounds. It's been these clutches, these close calls, maybe just to break for a few moments to wrap their head around what Liquid could be coming up with as well. Do they have a good read on the economy? Do they know what Liquid have in store? These are all questions that should be answered. I mean, we're 9 rounds through the 30. You may as well use a timeout if you feel like you just need a bit of a breather.
They've got a full buy to work off of as well. If they can get rid of these pistols from Liquid, they go 6-3 up. This is their map pick, of course. This is where they wanted to put the statement down. And Kenny leading the charge with Amanek. 7 kills apiece for each of those players. And Kenny's going to take that AWP out towards A-Long to try and cause some havoc. Although Liquid Not going to challenge, instead looking for the mid-presence, and the nades are punishing them for it. Hunter with a headshot for the first. Nexa's nade finishes off the second. And G2 taking out 2 players before they've even seen a single one.
A timeout has been a success thus far. Deagles and 2 flashes as Liquid try to take some middle control. Just checking all of these angles. G2 playing to their advantages. They now know that it's going to be pistols they're up against and Deagles. So the worst thing you can possibly do is peek, give those one-tap potential time to take shape. Try and neutralize them as best as you can. They still have nades as well to stall, so I think G2 are playing this one flawlessly right now. Additionally, because Liquid don't really have any smokes to play with, they have to come out here relatively raw. Like, even with flashbangs landing, it shouldn't deter Kenny, who does miss that shot. Probably should have landed it from his own perspective, but Nex is there to clean up the rest. He can flash if he decides against it, bombs down, and alongside Jax, it's an easy case of repelling the attack. 6-3, G2 continue their winning ways.
And they keep it clean as well, which is going to be so important moving through. They keep that economy building on the CT side. We spoke about how difficult that economy can be to keep a hold of when you're on the CT side. So getting through those rounds cleanly, giving yourselves a strong full buy is always important. Liquid going to be able to buy into this one, but it's just the 2 Kriegs, 3 AK-47s in tow. And where will they look to put the early contest? 3 flashbangs go out over long. It's going to be a straight gunfight here. The Molotov not going to stop anybody. Hunter gets one immediately traded by Stewie, but his Molotov is there to take down the young smoke criminal. And 4 on 3, G2 will be happy with that opening engagement. They need to react quickly, though, as Liquid, they're not looking to slow things down at all.
It's getting a little bit predictable, though, however. Smoke into middle. This does leave Amanek alone. Hunter, his partner in crime, has been dealt with over on the long side. So can Amanek, reasonable with his position, pull this off? It's 2 kills that go his way. That should be more than good enough. It's a rough site to retake. And Naf is doing significant damage, but he himself is on the return end of quite a bit of bullets as well. He's going to be able to smoke onto the doors and try and just force this flank down, but it's going to be denied. I thought for a moment when Naf was peeking outside the window, if he can get that first kill, it was actually doable. But once that spray didn't quite work out for him, it was pretty much all over.
He needed that first kill. He needed something to start bringing it back his way, right? That would have allowed him to get the bomb down quickly. That would have given him an opportunity to perhaps spring something uninspected. But instead, it's well cleaned up by G2 at the end of the day. Nexa gets away with one, but then stops the bomb from even going down, so there's no extra economy built up for Liquid whatsoever. They're going to be back down onto the pistols again. They've got a little bit of utility behind them, but the economy just keeps on building for G2. Only losing a couple of players is really important as well. You can see Kenny with 7,000, 4,250 on Hunter. He's got the Krieg as well as this B setup starts to come through. And look at this, they're using the new skyboxes. Naf with the smoke lineup, and it is going to be the straight B hit coming through from Liquid.
Not many other options available to them now. They are going to have Stewie that's pushing outside of middle once again. Hunter flashed it. Kenny S has also gone down. It comes to Amanek, who time and time again is digging them out of these ditches they're putting themselves into. But Liquid, 3 players strong, able to take some assault rifles away from the corpse of the CTs, now use them against the oncoming Nexa and Jax. Could feasibly take this round. It includes an SG. They've got a couple of flashes to play with after this one detonates, but Nexa goes in peeking to his tight left angle. His Nitro comes out swinging, gets himself a kill before he goes down. And now Nexa has 2 separate angles to watch out for. And Liquid are going to get it done with pistols. Amanek needs some help on B. He can't do this alone.
Something has to change. You can't rely on one man to repel a whole rush. The flashes were good for Liquid, but that doesn't change the fact Amanek was forced to do it all alone. He got the double spray down. He couldn't quite find the third, and that allowed Liquid into the bomb site. It stopped the retake in its tracks, and it will allow them to buy as well. G2, they've gifted Liquid a lifeline almost. Kenny, though, still able to pick up his favored AWP, and it's an almost characteristic short aggression coming in from the CT side. The crossfire's there. The spray is good from Hunter. He'll get the 2-for-1 trade. Nexa the sacrifice. But again, G2, they're consistently winning these opening engagements. They've just got to find the conversions from the man advantage.
Stewie 2K going to be joining his partner in crime of Elige, looking to try and go through middle once again. This time, Kenny is a step ahead of them. It's his orb that's going to be trained on middle, and Naf's head is rolled off. leaving on Stewie and Elise to try and push up on the catwalk, try and get onto A as fast as they can. There's flashes to greet them. We are at that stage of the game where G2 will be fine and content with allowing this plant to come to fruition because they have 4 players on the retake. Their economy's not great either, so they could do with getting this one done cleanly. Stewie and Elise both have SGs. At this kind of a range, it can be an absolute nightmare. It can be an absolute pain to try and get back on with. They need those 2 players in CT to start to move up with Jax. Otherwise, it's going to be separate 1v1 encounters that go the way of Liquid. Elise can see them hopping up and down. Time is dwindling away. They need to start getting some kills. It's Elise. He's at the backside of catwalk. He can see players pushing him. He's spinning back and forth. Elise electric hold. Liquid have a 5th round, all thanks to him.
That is what the Krieg can do. What a play from Elise to find the 2v1, flicking between the players, and this spray is exquisite. He didn't know which one to aim at. He starts at Jax, then he goes back to Amanek, then he finishes the job. And it's going to completely reset the economy of the CT side as well. That was the swing. And Elise is the man who makes it happen for Liquid. A strong buy for them, as Kenny and Hunter, the only people picking up upgraded pistols. G2, again, aggressive through short, but this time Twist at range with the Krieg to just try and shut it down.
When you have a player of Elise's caliber, even if he does have a slow start, which he certainly has here on Dust 2, there is always that possibility that they open Pandora's box and unleash the beast. Elise now, you can see from his perspective, has no idea that they're all stacked around middle, but now he's just seen a pixel. Only saw the 1 player. He has no idea as to whether more players are out here or not. I don't think he actually caught a glimpse of whether it was a upgraded pistol or not either. But based on how quickly he died, it stands to reason there would be no armor on these G2 players. They may have called this stack is a real possibility. It's hard to see G2 getting anything done unless Liquid push out middle again.
Kenny going to go for the peak, and they're trying to get something done, but Stewie takes the first head off of Nexa, and there's just too many rifles. Kenny able to get 1 back onto Nitro with the 1D, because G2 still trying to apply this pressure, and they're getting good damage out of it, but they can't quite find the frags, as Stewie and Naf combine just to deal with the issue, and deal with it well they do. G2 with their 2nd timeout, and this one not under quite such good circumstances, trying to work out how to repel a Team Liquid who feel like they're just starting to switch on here.
Better late than never, Wolfie. G2's choice of map. They chose T side, remember that. So they wanted to put themselves in this scenario, this position. It didn't work out fantastically, even with the start where they've kept Kenny pretty low. He's still 9-6 with 77 ADR, but certainly not had the kind of impact, the kind of presence that we expect from him. If you compare it to Mouse Sports earlier today with Voxic, who had one of the best performances of this entire tournament with the AWP, Kenny hasn't been at that level yet they're still getting the kills thanks to Amanek, thanks to Hunter. Again, 14 and 8 with 4 assists. You cannot understate how big he's been.
He's been huge for them. Kenny, again, going to go for the aggressive play towards short. This has been fairly typical for G2, although Liquid will take free long control off the back of it. No presence there for the CT side. And the Leeds just making sure the lower tunnels are clear as he starts his approach. Nexa, oh, this could all be the timing. Leeds spots him out, gets the dink through the door as well. Nexa goes down to 63. The Molotov will flush him out into the open, and Leeds will burn Nexa alive. The barbecue gets the opening frag for Liquid. And a 5-on-4 to contend with now for G2. How do they look to hold on to this? Long control already lost. A man down on the CT side. I think it's about time for some vintage Kenny S.
It feels like that's one of the only ways that they get themselves back into this round, because there's not that much utility either. They can't feasibly fend off catwalk, fend off middle, so they can put extra reinforcements, extra troops over on A. Additionally, Smoke's now trying to come in. That Molotov, the only incendiary they had left, has already been tossed out with 50 seconds. It's more of a stopgap, more to just try and stall a potential push, which isn't forthcoming. Now they're almost faking as if there's a rotation, but they know they have no middle control, so there could be a flank in. Remember, Amanek did this earlier. That'll be in the back of their minds. Jax tries to take the fight. They had to try and take the initiative. And now, is Kenny S gonna go vintage? There's the first one. Molotov to greet him, though. Excellent utility. It does allow them to cross to the bomb and get the bomb plant for short. Or safe, I should say, actually. It's on default. So it's going to be more of a long plant G2, 3-on-4, looking to retake, but they have a flash and a decoy. That's it. It's going to have to come down to raw refragging power from G2, and they're all centralized on Catwalk and CT. So it's all going to be coming in a one-dimensional streak. You're expecting Liquid to just absolutely obliterate G2, and they realize how likely that outcome is. They need to save for the last round of the half.
That's unfortunate for G2. It felt like they were just waiting for any opening pick to come through. They wanted something to tell them it was go time, but with nothing forthcoming, Liquid will have their 7th round on the T side of Dust 2. And as you said, the buy is not looking pretty for G2. Coming into the last round of this first half, they are not going to have much at all, as Liquid are going to empty the bank. They are going to have everything they ever dreamed of buying on their T side, as Hunter picks up the Mag 7. Where will he take that? How will he look to use a fantastic shotgun? But it's not going to be good against the likes of the Kriegs at range. And a FAMAS for Nexa and Jax. Significant sacrifices across the board for G2. They need something a little bit special here, and it's going to have to come through in this early engagement out towards A-Long. Flashes all over the place. Twist looking to dive in towards the pit. This is all on the timing and still fully blinded. Nexa taken out by Twist. They've got a player in the pit, but the Molotov's going to put Jax in even more trouble. The smoke gives away his position. Kenny, desperately trying to keep his teammate alive, has managed to drop the bomb, but the smoke means he's got to go searching again, picking Twist out the sky. Jax gets one more before the trade, and Kenny, through the smoke, takes out Nitro. Elige finally deals with the AWPer, and it's Hunter and Amanek, the Mag 7 and the M4, to try and make the 2-on-1. The bomb still dropped out towards A-Long. At the very least, buys time for these rotations.
Elige has already picked up a 1v2. Can he add to that tally? He has no idea where these G2 players are. Unbeknownst to him, they're both stacked together in the long doors. Now, he is waiting. He's anticipating this play. He has time to burn. He wants to play this clutch on his terms. He wants to force G2 out into the open. At some stage, they may push together. Now, G2 may just allow this bomb plant to come into fruition, or maybe they'll push a bit early. The timing so nearly working against Elige. But now he knows where one of these two players are. Molotov tossed in. He's going to stand on the off chance they try and push through the Molotov. It's not going to happen. He has no idea where this final player is coming from. Hunter, Mag 7, you called it. Absolute trash at range. It's going to have no impact. He has to wait for Amanek to come in. Hunter can't do anything to stop this bomb plant. They do have a Molotov. They do have a smoke, a flash, and a HE to use. They're all in the hands of Amanek. So if he goes down to Elige before tossing any of them out, that might be all she wrote. But they're not required. G2 still get the headshot, and they will lead going through to the second half, 8-7.
Well, we said we wanted some vintage Kenny, and some vintage Kenny we were given. G2 will have the lead by the narrowest of margins, 8-7.
Go for both teams coming in to the latter stages of the first half. But G2 just about held on and got the 8-7 lead. Now the roles reverse. They're on the T side and already aggressively getting into tunnels. Two players with some utility, Nexa and Amanek with both smokes, and they have a few flashes for good measure. Twists having a look down from the catwalk. They do go for a middle peek, see nothing, and start to fade away.
The T side has been good to G2 so far this tournament. They went 12-3 up against Mouse, but we all know how that game finished. And they've picked up plenty of utility to try and get this pistol round off to the right start. Long control taken by Hunter, the P250 getting out relatively cleanly, and the CT side yet to really form a response. Happy to sit back passively, letting G2 take the early map control, and actually Amanek going to get his hands on the P250 to have a crack at it.
And why not have him with it in his hands? He's played so well. So many of those rounds they picked up on B side were down to him and him alone. Double smokes, Elige using the little cusp of the wall to bypass the smokes, but that flashbang to burn his retinas out. And now that it's cleared, he's finding out that his teammates are dropping around him. Stewie 2K down first. Intelligent from Elige. He knows his days are numbered if he stays on the site. So he falls down, lives to fight another day. That clarity of mind could come back to haunt G2 as Twist now going to execute Hunter. They're looking to try and dissolve a road away. They're now defending G2. The roles reverse and Liquid. All the entries back back onto the site, everyone chipping in, but it's Twists with 3 that really shines.
You couldn't ask of a cleaner retake on that A bomb site, and Twist, the one to really make it happen, tapping away every time anybody on G2 peaked. He was there, his crosshair was trained on their head, and he was finishing the job. Liquid starting off strong on the CT side. G2 with that bomb plant will be able to force decently. There will be AKs, there will be Kriegs. Kenny will have himself a scout, and they will look to immediately bite back and not allow Liquid to settle on the CT side.
Absolutely the case. You want to make sure you dethrone the economy before you allow it to start to swell, before you allow it to build up to a position where it's going to be more of an issue. Stewie 2K with the scouts. Going to be interesting when him and Kenny both get their hands on the AWPs. How that battle will commence and conclude. One team moves to the semi-finals after this game. One team will be going to the quarters. Twists. Good spray down, but he's going to get counted instantly by Hunter's hand. That's a good trade for the T's. It's actually funnels away more utility, and there's not that much for Liquid.
And there's a FAMAS on the ground as well, but as Nitro finds a quick double, Jack's only able to trade for the first, and G2, they find themselves a man down. Hunter takes the tag, the sting of the scouts of Stewie, and it's onto him and Kenny, 2 of the high flyers on this G2 roster. But do they get into this bomb site? How do they get into this bomb site? In fact, utility limited, Hunter with a full bank, Kenny with absolutely nothing. And the bomb's actually going to make its way back towards those long doors, watching for the flank. We need Kenny to do something here. Somebody has to find a frag if G2 want this force buy to work. Kenny looking onto the A bomb site, but nobody there for Liquid. Happy to sit passively, happy to wait as Hunter towards short is walking right into the trap of a Liege.
That trap may be sprung momentarily, or perhaps Kenny can have some impact with the scout and draw away the position on catwalk to look at long. That's exactly what's happening. It was important that he made the noise. He drew away the fire. It opens up Hunter. This is working absolutely beautifully. They're both so low on HP, but Hunter has a chance. He has a hope, but his eyes have been closed permanently by Stewie 2K. Scout Stewie? Well, he fancied like skating by on some fire. He had 4 HP, nearly died to it.
I don't know what he thought he was going for, hoping perhaps that he could make it past it and get the Creek. He's looking at that and going, Creek's worth the time, but eventually the clock is the one that saves him, and G2, the force buy doesn't work out. They don't even get the bomb plant, so they're going to be looking at a very mediocre buy. 2 P250s, a Deagle, and Amanek with the double flashbangs to try and open something up. They're going to head towards middle early on. And honestly, 2 frags at this point for G2 would be success. Hunter going to eat the damage of the scout early on, and as Naf and Alige open things up, this isn't looking good. Jax at least able to get 1 on the P250. Such a consistent fragger for G2, but the 2 remaining players with so little firepower to work with. Twist will just start tearing them apart. The jumping MP9, and he finishes the job. Liquid will be the first to double digits as G2 will finally be able to buy fully.
I'm sorry, like, but it should be a crime to get a jumping tag with an MP9 at that range. Like, I can't believe that's a thing that still occurs in this game. G2, though, are going to be calling a timeout. We saw them do this when they were in the lead as well, and the CT was 5-3, and they call a timeout. Understandable that they would call one now, as they have some decisions to make. They will have a buy, that much is certain, and I would be very surprised if Kenny didn't pick up an AWP, albeit on a glass cannon. If they don't, if they go for rifles here, it would suggest we're going to see a rush.
Jax, for a brief moment, had enough economy to go no head armor and drop Kenny the AWP and allow him to pick up some armor, and he trades for the rifle. But they don't opt to go for it. Kenny clearly confident in his glass cannon, and as you said, with the AWP picked up by Kenny, not suggestive of a fast play, and it is going to be Stewie picking up the AWP to counter. Twist sticking with his lucky MP9, hoping for some more flying shots as Kenny takes the early engagement, but can't quite find the shot onto Alige on top of the barrels. And G2, a little bit unfortunate not to find themselves with that opening man advantage.
Perhaps unfortunate, but this game often comes down to mere millimeters, milliseconds. Kenny S and his glass cannon could shatter, but it could also be used as a linchpin to pulverize the economy of Liquid. Aggression from Twist up closer with the MP9. This allows them to be a little bit more forthcoming when it comes to watching Catwalk. They're going to have a very early alarm system. If Twists dies, they're going to be able to quickly wrap around to long and get one of those players from B to maneuver into middle. So I really like this play, Liquid mixing it up, but it's very centralized. G2 stacking all their players on Catwalk, maybe looking for the off timing, but this is where having Twists indoors could be so beneficial. You can see from Naf and Stewie's perspective, they can both just lock their eyes onto Catwalk. The smoke's coming down. So much utility's already been expended on both teams.
It's such a great position for Liquid to be in. They've used their utility beautifully just to stall this push to nothingness. And G2, they're fully queued up. They have got nowhere else to hide but short. All 5 players here, and it's just a question of can they hit their shot. Stewie with an easy opening to take out Jax. Nexa lucky to be alive. It looked like he had the lineup, but the shot just whizzes by his shoulder. Stewie with the second onto Hunter, looking for more, but the flick won't quite come through. Naf now called into question with the spray down, only able to find the first, so 3 on 2, and perhaps an opportunity. Amanek gets aggressive, but he's got to get this bomb down. Kenny desperately trying to play Overwatch, and somehow Amanek gets another. Amanek with the clutch, the king play from the site. How does he stay alive for so long there for G2?
A 4K to boot, and as Amanek once again, 17 and 11. He did it on the B side, on the defense. Now he trades positions to A and locks it down. And G2, hot off the back of a timeout into a round win, say, look, we got one timeout left, boys. Let's just slow things down. Let's make Liquid sweat this one out.
How does Amanek stay alive for so long there? Honestly, he should have been traded about 6 times, and every single time he just seems to find the jewel. Liquid, Twist caught looking the wrong way. He gets the first there. He jumps up on the box. The inaccuracy must have been insane. He still finds the headshot there. He flicks quickly to short, finds another headshot to put Liquid on the back foot, to put their economy back in the doldrums, and to give his teammates a chance to accelerate here. Hunter will pick up the MAC-10 to try and build some economy for that T side, to try and build the cash up, as it is just the pistols across the board for Liquid.
The downside here for G2, though, Wolfie, is if things start to go pear-shaped, they've used all of their time out allocated. So they are going to be vulnerable, they're going to be bare. They've almost gone all in at this stage. Liquid, in the meanwhile, still possess the vast majority of theirs. Deciding to hold fire with any kind of full investment, certainly the correct decision. And here comes the catwalk play. They know that G2 have shown time and time again they like to exploit this area of the map, but G2 are a step ahead, and Jax just carving out faces with his AK. Blinking, you would have missed it. G2 ties back up even 10-10.
They needed that round to be clean, and clean it was. Hunter will be a little bit disappointed, I imagine, that he didn't farm the kind of cash he was looking for on that MAC-10, but it's still a well-rounded performance from G2. They deal with the pistol half buy, they deal with the short aggression. And as the buy comes out, it's not great looking for Liquid. Naf onto Famas, a scout for Stewie with limited utility. It feels like this might be the opportunity for the Frenchman. They're sticking with that MAC-10 onto Hunter, expecting him to go fast somewhere, and Kenny almost catching the timing fully blind, but he can't quite connect the initial shot out towards A long. So G2 will reset, and they will take slow control of mid.
Just a hair away while Flashbang from breaking the deadlock here in round 21. Katowice has delivered some mighty performances, some mighty games as we expected coming in. And this has been no different. Molotovs into middle. You can see right now that Amanek is playing the interference role, throwing Molotovs and flashes in, drawing out that utility, that vital utility from Liquid. They realize the economy is not in great shape, and you can see the impact that's had. Smoke and 3 flashes, that's all that Liquid have with over a minute to play with.
And G2 looking for the exact same play again. The short push looking to come in. Liquid this time not going to be contesting as the early nades come over the top. They know, as you said, they've used the overwhelming majority of their utility here. Stewie looking to flash himself in. Will catch a fully blinded Jax and at least get the tag, but no frag to be found. Looking for the jump scout, but the nerf comes in strong. And it will be G2 to get the bomb down. A 5-on-5 retake required if Liquid want to go for this. Their utility, very slim. There's a world where they don't even bother. Amanek already out towards top of middle, should be able to form a flank here if required at the moment. Nitro watching it as Liquid look to push in. Hunter on the bomb site, Nexa towards short. The setups are perfect for G2, but Stewie still finding tags, gets another bullet into the back of Nexa, and now they look to pounce, but Kenny and Hunter are there. Kenny with the AK finds two, Jax on the AWP with another, and it's cleaned up beautifully by G2.
I was starting to think that maybe Stewie softening up multiple targets would make it a target-rich environment for the rest of his team on the approach, but then the entries came in, then the aggression was forthcoming from G2. They erupted out on Catwalk and just overwhelmed the site. And again, Liquid on the back foot, forced into an eco, only a HE and a P250. Minimal investment, just $600 spent in total.
Nice nade though. Hunter and Amanek both taking significant damage as they go for that early lung control. The bunny hops are good from Nitro. He manages to get his way back towards mid, but the rest of the CT side, they're pushing the wrong area of the map. There is a slim chance here that they can get their flank on if they start to push far enough around. G2, of course, taking this round slowly, treating it with the respect that it is due and making sure that they don't lose any more rifles than are absolutely necessary. All 5 players for Liquid a roaming death squad around the map, and they are going to head towards short. They might have the opportunity to cut G2 off on the crosshair and potentially find some damage. Nitro swinging past the smoke. Stewie gets the first, immediately traded by Jax. The AK's trying to take advantage of the range, but Stewie still hitting headshots, has found a nice couple of kills. There will be no more as Nexa just steadies the ship, but at least a couple of frags found. It's made expensive for G2 as Liquid look for their next full buy.
And they will certainly have it, plus and up. Just a small correction, they spent 900. There was a smoke on the cross. Won't really have much of an impact, though, in this round anyway. Stewie, still $800, could invest in some more utility. We have a match pause. I have a feeling this may be technical.
Stopped as soon as it started, though.
Looks like we're actually just back live anyway. Just a very quick pause. Love to see that. If we're going to have technical problems, as fast as possible is always the way forward. But I would say that Stewie hasn't really had the impact with the AWP that I'd be looking for, especially to mitigate Kenny S. Maybe he can turn things around now. Smoke's deployed into middle, allowing them safe passage, but it's, again, only the one player on B, which will be Nitro. Naf is playing more of a sweeper role through middle. He can now start to funnel his way over onto the B side of the map, which is where G2, by and large, are waiting. They're waiting to pull the trigger. They have Jax, who is trying to make a bit of noise. Again, he might do a similar role to what Amanek did when the roles were reversed. Throw smokes, try and beat interference play, but here it is. The floodgates have opened, and there is no dam to build off for Liquid. The T tsunami spills into the B site and crashes every player in its wake. It is a 3-on-3, but we are going to have a post-plant situation. B site is a nightmare to retake, especially when Stewie is on such low HP. But they do have a molly, a smoke, pardon me, and 2 flashes to play with.
They've got the utility to do it, but do they have the economy to justify it? Liquid backing out of the situation. They know their buys are limited from here on in. If they keep these 3 rifles up, then they have some kind of a resistance as G2 get their 13th round. If they try and retake that B bomb site and it falls apart, then it's a guaranteed 13th and by all likelihood a 14th off the back of that. So Liquid, they opt for the save. They keep these 3 rifles up. They keep some potency to their defense. G2 will have a 13th, and they are really starting to look good on D2.
We're also starting to see some of those weaknesses really have a light shone on them from Liquid. Maybe this is why they went for the T side first. They wanted to try and bulldoze G2, because their CT side has looked a little bit rough around the edges to me. They won 3 rounds so far on this half, and they were all Wolfie off the back of the pistol. So as soon as these rifle rounds have came in, it's been nothing but G2. This is 5 rounds in a row.
And this was G2's strongest side against Mousesports, the 12-3 half. This is where they excelled. This is where they found their footing on the map. And now just needing 3 more T-sided rounds to find themselves victory on their map pick and just to put all the pressure on Liquid to potentially book themselves a place in the semi-finals. 3 more rounds, the difference. Full buy across the board, of course, for both sides, but this feels like it's starting to get towards that last chance saloon for Liquid here on map 1. Kenny down middle, not going to waste a shot on the cross, because it is just Nitro out towards B.
Speeding things up at G2 though, and this completely neutralizes Stewie 2K's push. It's not going to affect Twist, but he's been left alone. He decided to press forward rather than join Stewie 2K back onto the site. Stewie nearly gets sprayed in the back. Nearly a complete catastrophe for Liquid, just as they're trying to stabilize. HE tossed back in. Hunter's going to feel worse for wear. But you can see Nitro in a completely different angle. It's a one-and-done gimmicky spot, and he is the last line of defense on B, and he has been demolished. Nexa, 3 kills with the AK. Opens the round up entirely for G2. It's now theirs to lose. And what can Elige feasibly do? His position is known. He's done a bit of damage, but it's nowhere near enough to get back into the round. And Liquid now trail 14-10, and their economy is in the bin once more.
Liquid trying to fly through that smoke, but Nexa literally just there with a fly swatter, picking them out of the air as G2 get their 14th. And again, Liquid with some huge decisions to make. They are going to go for the half buy, the Deagles, the utility, a little bit of armor for Elige and Twist to try and get some kind of a defense before the last round of this game. 15 looking like it's on the cards for G2. Liquid know that if they save in this one, they will be able to buy for the last round, potentially, of map 1. But can they do it with the Deagles? Can they find those headshots? G2, a slow, measured approach. Not quite the frenetic pace we saw in the previous, but that's understandable. Don't want to be wandering into those Deagle angles without backup. So just a measured start to the round.
Kenny having no chill. Additionally, tags Twists on the cross to B. He's already down to 39. He then decided to go back towards the A side. Had a quick peek up with his Deagle. So even in the rounds where Liquid are trying desperately to do something with the Deagles, they're just being slammed right off the bat. No grenades barring a flashbang now at their disposal. Just shy of a minute on the clock. G2 more than enough time to wander their way through Catwalk. Now, this is where the Deagles can be quite the adversary. This is where things could get a little bit scary as Twists opens up his account in round 25. But what could be one of the final rounds of this map, unless Liquid can get it going under their way. It's all the way of G2 now. There was a slight blockade, but it's been bulldozed over by G2. And the rest of the piece of the puzzle starting to fall into place. No reason to save this Deagle for NAF. They're going to have a buy, Liquid, in the next round. So may as well throw caution to the wind and see if maybe, just maybe, there is a miracle still available on A. He's waiting for the smoke to clear. NAF, he has spotted Kenny, tags him, but it's just grazing his elbow. Does finish him off. He doesn't have a kit though, and time is scarce, but these bullets are landing, and NAF wasn't far off. He nearly put that bullet through the windshield of the car and through Amanek's head. Still G2, 15-10 leads.
Liquid showing you that you cannot give them anything. You cannot allow them those opportunities. G2 still, by the skin of their teeth, by Amanek's life, managed to stay on the board, get their 15th out. And as Liquid hit the double AWP panic button, this is their last chance. This is it. They have to be flawless from here on out. And G2, quite frankly, have looked incredibly impressive on Dust 2. They're going to go for an early play towards the B-bomb site with Amanek. But again, fast mid-take, looking to put the pressure on. Stewie hits the first shot onto Kenny. That's the AWP down. How much more can they find off the back of that?
It's going to have to be a whole lot more. And consistent pressure applied for at least a few more rounds to break G2. Stewie peeks back in with the AWP. Slams Jax, takes a little bit of damage, but it's negligible. He'll be happy with that trade. Elige, normally the standout player for Liquid, or certainly up there, has been put in Nexa's back pocket, not for the first time this map. So all the early shenanigans that Liquid were able to pull off with the opening pick on Kenny has been nullified.
How much can G2 run with this? Pop flash over the top will blind Naf. The Molotov, though, should be good. Is there any utility there for the T's to put it out? And Naf and Twist with a frag apiece. Hunter and Nexa had to bail behind that Molotov, and now they're all that remains. The frags, only the first for Hunter as the trades come through. And Liquid, the first test is passed. They need 4 more. And with the economy as it is, G2 are looking at another buy immediately.
Now, do G2 realize they're not going for the double up again? Because a lot of teams in this scenario would go for some kind of aggressive hit. 2 ups are ripe for the taking when it comes to rushing, especially behind flashes and smokes. Now, of course, we have the benefit of seeing that Naf drops Stewie the AWP and then picks up an M4 instead. So they're going back to more default, and here we go. This is the counterplay. This is what G2 are banking on. There were nades tossed into total, but somehow they did barely any damage. Stewie, though, is going to put his AWP to use. Pop flash off the side for Naf. It actually lands in the eyes of Stewie, but he still takes down the man of Jax, and he's gone in for more. He's missed that shot. It could be so crucial, but he's still alive on the window, and he's opened it up to knock down G2 where they stand, but it's now down to the duos of Nitro and Twists facing Kenny S and Aminek. The 2 informed players, the 2 informed Frenchmen have to try and chime together if they want to lay this map down one final time and move to Vertigo. And that's such an audacious peak, and somehow Kenny's still alive to tell the tale. How are Liquid not in a better position here? I can't believe that Kenny survived that. Aminek still hasn't planted the bomb. He's going to try and fake and funnel him into that window play. They're going to jump straight out. Nitro comes through. The smoke working against Kenny. It's 8 HP play 64, but Kenny's going to have no room for error. If he misses the AWP shot, that's it done! But the timing is on his side, and G2 get across the finish line first. They will have their choice of dust too.